precision, grappling with my Golden Octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling like a Golden Octagon. The stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D Rose.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. My name is Matt. D Rose is on that side of your screen, and depending on where you are in the country, there might be a lot of snow where you're at. I know right now outside where I'm at, there's like 6-8 inches, and it doesn't snow at all. So, cool. Hopefully everything's good with the stream tonight. It doesn't go out. Everything's not too laggy. Everything works out. But with that being said, me and D Rose are here to cover this past weekend's UFC Vegas 102. We'll recap that real quick. We've got some UFC news and fight announcements to go over, and then we've got Dana White's Contender Series in Seattle happening this weekend. Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. We're going to give you our preview and our picks for that. Nah, I'm just kidding. We got UFC Seattle this weekend. We got Austin going to be in attendance, so shout out Austin. I hope you have a good time, dude. Hopefully you didn't pay too much for those tickets, because it kind of reminds me of when I was so excited to go to the Nashville fights, and then that they just kept falling off, and I was like, oh man, like what am I going to end up seeing? But Seattle might even be worse. But we'll get into it. D Rose, how have you been over the past week or so, my guy? And how's the weather and stuff looking your way? Because I know you're about 5 hours from me. So
yeah, things have been great over this way. Business been good. Everything like that. Yeah, we got a little bit of snow earlier. We got about, I'm gonna say roughly about 2 inches or so. Nothing that I'm not used to. As far as that goes. But but no, everything's been great over here. Gambling weekend wise, yeah, I definitely did not do great at all. Gambling, I ended up hitting a couple little parlays there at the end to, as I told you, came up just a little bit, but man, Rodolfo Vieira, man, I probably could have won some decent money last week. I had about 3 different parlays tied up with him, just money line. And yeah, it ended up falling apart, but other than that, everything was pretty good this weekend as well.
yeah, you're not the only one. So still slanging Kias. No issues with the sales with the snow.
Yeah. Now Mac McClung actually has driven up the sales to 50% since what they were since he did the dunk competition with the jump over the Kia K5. Now everybody wants the Matt Keller Kia K5, and we get them out here and we slinging them.
I can only imagine those old timers coming in there. Yeah, give me the one that white fella that jumps real high. Give me the car he jumped over.
You definitely got the wrong accent. You got the wrong accent for the guy looking for the Kia K5 in basketball. You definitely got the wrong accent for that
guy. Oh my. Let's get into the chat, see how y'all are doing. We got Antoine in here. Yo, good evening, boys. Hope y'all are having a good day. Yeah, cold here, snowy, but it's a good day. I got to work from home today, so I'm not too upset. I've always wanted to visit Seattle. I like rain a lot, especially now for Nat.
Oh man, Antoine wants to visit. He wants to visit Seattle to take a nap. That's crazy.
We got Austin in here. It's finally Seattle Fight Week. Can't wait. Happy Wednesday to everyone. Happy Wednesday, Austin. How do you guys feel about Henry's legacy, knowing he's the 4th ever 2-division champion and defending both belts? If there was one double champ that I think I could do away with, just, I don't know. it would just be Henry, just because, dude, Henry's a weenie. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, he's just the weenie. Like, he for sure goes the Weenie Hut Juniors. Anyway, we got Joe Sharp in here. Hot chip challenge instead of beans this one time. I don't have any of those. I don't know where to purchase that. To be honest.
but can you open a bottle of ketchup without running it under warm water? I mean, come on.
I ate a bowl of nails this morning for breakfast without any milk.
Go right on it.
And we got Nick Cards in here with the Let's Go. What's going on, y'all? I hope y'all are all having a good Wednesday, a good week so far. We're here to talk about some UFC fights that have just happened, that are coming up, and they're going to be happening this weekend. So with that being said, let's get into it. Our UFC Vegas 102 recap. All right, D-Rose, you kind of led into it just a little bit. Man, this hurts me to talk about, to be honest, because I went 10 of 12 on picks. The only 2 fights that I got wrong were the Vince Morales versus Elijah Smith and Adolfo Vieira versus Andre Petrovsky, dude. And it was like to the point where I was calling the fights exactly like Walter Walker, round 1, round 2, sub prop. I had that tied up. Like it was looking like a fantastic night on like certain things. And then the Vince Morales fight happened. And I just felt, as soon as the fight was like starting, I was like, man, I shouldn't have put him in. I literally have him in everything, whether it's money line, whether it's the round 2, round 3 sub prop. I had him in so much stuff. And he was close a lot during the fight. Like he was going for all kinds of crazy shit, Peruvian neckties, arm triangles. Dude, Elijah Smith is a tough kid. Really proved a lot in that fight. But I thought it was a fair decision win, man. And as far as the Andre Petrovsky fight versus Adolfo Vieira, dude, I ain't even gonna lie, that shit sucked, dude. That shit was straight cheeks. That was I'm not even gonna pretend like that fight was remotely interesting. But if we didn't expect it, dude, like when 2 grapplers get in there, what usually happens is it's like they just kind of want to throw strikes. But I actually asked you that last week, is like, who's the better striker of the 2? And I thought that we agreed that Adolfo Vieira was. And to be honest, it was a pretty close fight. It was ass either way, but it was a close fight. Could have went either way, but it did end up burning me. But as far as those are the 2 that are on the tip of my mind that I was just wrong on. So let's go through the card as a whole. In the main event, Jared Cannonier knocks out Hobo Cop 21 seconds into round number 4, which is, cool. I did pick Jared Cannonier to win that fight. I didn't see a lot of people picking Jared Cannonier. So my play for that was the fight to start round 2, because I wasn't confident in it either way. Anything on the main event for you, brother?
Yeah, I thought just a resilient effort from, a Jared Cannonier to go in there, pretty big underdog. I was surprised that Gregory Rodriguez was that big of a favorite. I did pick the fight to start round 3 in one of my bets that I ended up hitting, so that ended up coming through. But other than that, I was not confident in betting the fight either way. I thought, on my Tapology picks, I picked Gregory Rodriguez, round 2 KO, because I thought that was his best chance was early. And he did end up hurting Jared Cannonier a couple of times in the first round. Sat Jared Cannonier on his wallet twice in the first round. But Jared Cannonier just showed their resiliency, man, and for him to just immediately get right back up, initiate the wrestling, so that way he can establish himself, get himself together, get his bearings together, get right back into the fight, and end up taking over there. Because really, I would say probably after a minute and a half in the second round, it was Jared Cannonier's fight from that point on to lose. And he really put a hurt on Gregory Rodriguez there. elbow was absolutely nasty in the clinch. It was absolutely brutal. I thought the fight could have been stopped at the end of the third round. I mean, me and Amber, we were watching the fight, and she was like, no, he was still kind of fighting. I was like, no, I'm telling you, Jared Cannonier has vicious ground and pound. Like, Jared Cannonier has ground and pound like a heavyweight, dude. Like, he will pound you out.
He was a
if he has the
heavyweight.
opportunity to. And, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, he carries that power with him, especially in the ground and pound. And there at the start of the fourth round, you can see Gregory Rodriguez just had no more. So, great performance with Jared Cannonier. And it was a hell of a fight as well. Fun fight overall. And I think it was a good capstone to the night.
Yeah. I usually don't really watch like the post-fight interviews too much, but the MMA media was two things that had me cracking up, but two, it's just like some of the questions they ask, like after a fight, it's like, that's the best question that you could come up with, really. But it's like, he was like at the end of the third, he was like, I thought the fight was over because ref touched my back. He was like, I thought I won, but it was the end of the round. And then so that was like on the end of the fight. And then one of the MMA, like the media members, asked him if he trained to be in tough spots. Like, he was like, I don't know what you're asking, but if you're asking me if I trained to get knocked the fuck out and then go fight, I would tell my coach that he's nuts, and I would walk out of the gym that day. That I do not train to get punched in the face.
I did listen to that. Exactly which one you're talking about, because even Jared Cannonier was kind of talking, and he was like, he got confused after a while because he was like, I don't even know how to answer your question. I don't even know what you just asked. But yeah, no, you're spot on with some of the questioning. They sound nervous when they're talking to the fighters too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's an easy spot. I'm sitting here, doing a podcast or whatever, trying to talk smack, but at the same time, I mean, you're there doing that job for a reason. Try to talk in the mic with a little bit of confidence when you're talking to them. I mean, they're all trembling and stuff, and they're kind of asking them questions, and it was very cringy.
Yeah. All right, co-main event: Yusuf Zalal, Calvin Kattar. Yusuf Zalal wins via decision, which we expected him to, but I think we expected him to implement his wrestling. Once again, saw in the post-fight that he said that Calvin Kattar's legs were really, really slippery, and he tried to wrestle, and then it was like they were like they had oil on them, so he couldn't grab a hold of them. So maybe some tactics. I do know that Calvin Kattar and I think Rob Vaughn been training at TriStar, so maybe that's a little tactic, because I know there was some, rumors from GSP back in the day about being a little slippery as well. So that might be a little TriStar tactic that Calvin Kattar, took away from that camp up there. But anyway, Yusuf Zalal, I think his striking was impressing me in the first round, and when it started the second, dude. By the time that third round happens, dude, when he's just running away, dude, here comes the weenie again, dude. Like, Yusuf Zalal was being a weenie in there. And I was like, knock his ass out, Kattar. Get his ass. But, I mean, to be fair, he had pretty solid defense, pretty solid head movement. But it was just irritating to watch that third round, because it's like, dude, if you don't try to fight, like, you are literally just running, dude. You're just running, but it is what it is. Clean performance from Yusuf Zalal there. I don't know what happened. Oh, there it goes. Feature fight of the night: Edmund Shabazian and Dylan Budka. Round 1 knockout. Edmund Shabazian, as we expected. Dylan Budka should be cut from the UFC now. Nasty Nazim the Black Wolf Sadykhov with the round 1. I guess round 1 KO. It was a kick that happened in the first round, but doctor stoppage in between rounds. Ismail Bonfim said that he couldn't see, basically. And then the Adolfo Vieira, Andre Petrosky fight, I don't even want to say anything else about that. Prelims, Connor Matthews, Jose Delgado. Welcome to the UFC, Jose Delgado, man. What a fun fighter we have. Connor Matthews just absolutely a punching bag walking in there. Shout out the Army vet, though. Just not cut out for the UFC, man. Angie Overkill Hill, dude, I believe gets her first split decision win in the UFC, dude. She's had a lot of split decision losses, but she finally got a split decision win, dude. And it was a complete robbery. Me and you both picked, no, you didn't pick. You picked Caitlin Souza to win this fight. It was in the Pick Champ. And we'll talk about that when we're done. But I picked Angie Hill to win this fight via decision. After I watched the fight, I was like, I actually messaged you. I was like, we're going to need a robbery for Angie Hill to win. And then Sal D'Amato, I hear him, and Judge Sal D'Amato, 29-28. Angela, I was like, yeah, we got the robbery decision win, dude. I was so stoked. But my shit ended up falling out not long after that anyway. Gabriel Bonfim gets the round 2 submission almost at the end of the second. 4 minutes, 58 seconds into the second round. This is one of the ones that did burn me too, because I did have Gabriel Bonfim 3-or decision here. 2 seconds away from being that 3-or decision, though, but whatever. And then we talked about the Elijah Smith, Vince Morales. So close a lot of times for Vince Morales on that sub. It's like plus 1,300 sub 2-3 for Vince Morales. And man, was he close. But Walter Walker submits Dontel Mays round 1 knee bar. I saw that coming a mile away. And Jacqueline, Calvo Canetti, Calvo Conch, however you say it, defeats Julia Avila via decision all 3 rounds. And then Julia Avila retires after the fight. But I just feel like if Jacqueline maybe put her foot on the gas a little bit, dude, I don't think she has any finishing instinct at all. I don't know if she'll ever finish anyone in the UFC. So from now on, Jacqueline Cavalcanti via decision is the way it is. She's the new Caitlin Jukagian, dude. Via decision, Jacqueline Cavalcanti. The sky is blue, grass is green, snow is white, and she's gonna win by decision. That's the rule from now on. That's my recap of the fights. Any takeaways from you, D-Rose?
Yeah, I mean the co-main event, I had the same takeaway. We picked Yusuf Zalal. I thought his wrestling was going to be a little bit better, but for him to kind of have the complaint about Cater being all greased up and stuff like that. Hey, 101 baby, let's go. Him accusing Cater of kind of greasing like that, or kind of being super slick or whatever. Yeah, that's a pretty big accusation, man. So I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but maybe Yusuf is just a little salty because he couldn't take him down because Aljo took Cater down so many times. But hey, he ended up getting the win, so that's the main thing. He'll be able to, I don't know if he's going to get a big time matchup, but he's going to get the ranking. He'll get a bigger matchup moving forward. So I think he's going to be good to go. Do I like feet? No, I do not. I do not like feet.
I gotta start reading some of these before I click on them. You guys have some odd questions. You guys have some odd questions.
I do not. Evan Shabazian, dude, that was a nasty knockout, dude. That was nasty. That step in kind of slipped off to the side, landed that right hand. I mean, no ground and pound needed. Dylan Bodica kind of had the Shane Burgos fallback, the way that he just kind of crumpled and back up against the fence. Nasty knockout for Evan Shabazian. I don't know if that's going to be anything that's going to say that Evan Shabazian is going to be, a big time contender going forward, but it's good to see him get a win. And dude, what is it? Is he still 27, 28?
Yeah, 27, like 28, something like that. He is exactly here we go. He is 27 years old, born November 20th, 1997.
Yeah, just absolutely crazy, man. He's still young. He does still have time. I would like to see him turn it around, but good win for him. Nadim Sadikov and Ismail Bonfim. Ismail Bonfim, so I will say, he is a good striker. He doesn't have the grappling chops like his brother Gabriel does, but man, it's anytime he faces a little bit of adversity, dude, he kind of, I don't want to say he crumples, but he's definitely, I know the common saying in MMA is you can be the hammer, but can you be the nail? And dude, he cannot be the nail at all. Ismail Bonfim, as soon as there's a little bit of adversity that goes his way, it's it just goes all out the window. I thought it was and maybe it was a fractured orbital or whatever, but Ismail Bonfim definitely at the end of that fight was selling at the end of the fight that he didn't want it to be stopped, but the doctor came in and stopped it because he had the little fall down. And then he kind of like looks over at the camera like that, like once he falls to like make sure, like, oh yeah, they caught on there that I was so devastated that they ended up stopping the fight. When no, dog, you're the one who said that you couldn't see and you wanted the fight stopped. So they were just doing it because you said it. There was no language discrepancy whatsoever. They asked him multiple times, and he basically said yes, and then he fell over like something happened. No, you wanted the fight stopped, and it was stopped. And maybe rightfully so. It could have been a nasty injury, but don't sell me like you didn't want that fight stopped when you did. But good win for Nazim Sadikov. As I said, Rodolfo Vieira killed me, man. And that's all I'm talking about in that fight, because that fight absolutely annoyed me. Jose Delgado, as I told you, man, that dude is good. I'm going to be excited to watch him going forward. I mean, he looked sharp in his Contender Series fight. I was excited to see him make his UFC debut, and man, he looks like he's going to be the real deal. Hopefully he gets, the right type of matchmaking, because, he's in a killer division at featherweight. But if he gets a proper matchmaking and, kind of, gets to be able to hone in all his skills, dude, he can be dangerous, man. He's going to be good. Angela Hill versus Caitlin Souza, man, that was a good scrap, but man, I ended up I told you, I caught Caitlin Souza live at like plus 620 in the second round there. And I was like, dude, she's like winning the second round. How is she plus 620 right now? So I ended up placing a quick little like $5 bet. It was like I think it was like a $2 bet or something like that. It wasn't anything crazy, but I was like, hey, let me try to catch this live. And I thought at the end of the fight, I was clean as day for Souza getting the win. So when they said Angela Hill split decision, I about fell over, dude. I was like, that was crazy. I was counting the money.
D-Rose got hit with the robbery. D-Rose got hit with the robbery. For one time, D-Rose got hit with the robbery. I feel like I always get hit with the robbery.
I've been hit with plenty of them, but that one was as bad. That one was as bad as they come. That was a rough one. But that was a good scrap overall, and I'm happy for Angela Hill. So she's a fun fighter. Gabriel Bonfim, a good win for him, man. I thought, I thought he looked better than Chaos overall. Chaos, I know he took the final short notice, but Gabriel Bonfim looked good. His leg kicks looked good. He was snapping that jab. Takedowns were looking good. He was kind of throwing Chaos around a little bit more than I expected to, kind of hossing him around a little bit. Something I didn't expect from Gabriel Bonfim, but if he's able to do that, mix in his grappling and dude, that he had that arm in guillotine when he was able to snap that in, and dude, that was absolutely nasty. I thought Chaos Williams was still kind of in it, and then all of a sudden Herb Dean stops the fight, and he's freaking,
Al
back of his head. I was like,
taking a
damn,
nap. He's taking a nap.
I had the fight to start the third round, so I was like, come on, man! Like I had Gabriel Bonfim round 3 decision, and that ended up killing me too.
But
like,
that was he's asleep.
I was like, no, he's still fighting. Nah, he was out like a light, man, unfortunately. The Elijah Smith Vince Morales fight. Sorry, I had a little sneeze there. That was a good fight. Again, Vince Morales, I picked him, but Elijah Smith, I thought he showed a lot of heart, a lot of courage, man. Because Vince Morales was, giving him everything he could handle. And there were moments in that second round where maybe Elijah Smith, being a younger fighter early on in his career, he might look back and say, hey, you know what? I can mail it in. This guy ain't going to quit. But Elijah Smith was able to reverse position multiple times and was able to basically get the momentum back in the fight and able to secure that win in the third round. So I thought that was a good performance from him overall. Walter Walker, I guess, dude. I'm still not convinced.
I have it right here, dude. Right here, dude. I wrote it down last week. You picked Dontel Mays in that fight. You did.
Yeah. Yes, I know I did, but I'm just saying that I'm not super impressed with Walter Walker is what I'm saying, because it was Dontel Mays that he beat at the end of the day. I mean, I did pick Dontel Mays, not confidently, because I would rather have not picked in that fight at all. But of course, we do a pick segment here. So,
Yeah.
we pick all fights regardless. So, but that would be one. If I could have opted out of picking one, it would have been that one. There's one coming up this weekend that's the same exact way, and we'll talk about that.
Dude,
And
maybe that's what we should start doing. Just like giving like one little podcast parlay, like your favorite play of the card, my favorite play of the card, because that may have been my favorite play of the card last week, and it was plus 550. Walter Walker round 1, round 2 sub. Like it was a huge plus money number on Friday, dude. It's like we could have done that. So no matter what yours is, no matter what mine is, like as long as they don't like clash, like my favorite plays the over, your favorite plays the under, like or some shit like that. That wouldn't work. But yeah, like we gotta start doing something like that.
Yeah, no, that'd be a good idea. I mean, as long as like if we're doing it on Wednesdays, as long as the lines are there or something like that. Hey, some of the lines are
like they don't even have to be there yet. Like just like what you're waiting on it to open, just because you can't wait to bet it. It could be open. It don't have to be open though.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good point. That is something that we can maybe look into. But yeah, and then Jacqueline Cavalcanti, as you said, she's the decision queen at this point. Good fighter, good striking and stuff like that. But man, the women's bantamweight division, that division is as rough as it's been. It is absolutely the worst women's division. I mean, damn, women's bantamweight is at the point of getting extinguished because it's like we can't find anybody that's halfway decent to fight in this weight class, or nobody that's marketable, or nobody that can really sustain any type of success or star power or anything. Like that division lacks so much star power and so much just aura. It's absolutely wild to watch.
Indeed, man, indeed. And that was the premier division for the longest. And after Amanda Nunes retired, like no one cares. All right. So with that being said, I see Antoine's got some questions in here. It's going to lead us perfectly into our UFC news and fight announcement segment of the week. So Antoine, give me just a second. I'm going to click your first question here in just a second, but I'll click this one real quick. How do you guys feel about the Strickland and Nixick beef? Personally, I don't really care. How about you, T Rose? Like, I don't like Sean Strickland to begin with. I think he's irritating. I think he's a hypocrite. So I don't care. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I am with you in terms of not really being too big of a fan of Strickland. He is very annoying for the most part. But I will say that just in regards to the beef. Maybe Eric Nixick could have kept it, behind closed doors. That is one thing I will agree with Sean Strickland on, is that, hey, maybe instead of going on Ariel Helwani's show, one of the bigger shows in the world, to say that, hey, maybe we don't need to be with each other anymore. Can you talk to me about it first? So I will say I understand Sean Strickland from that sense, but also you can understand from Eric Nixick's side that, hey, man, I was clearly in your ear telling you what you needed to do and you weren't listening to me. There's a disconnect here that's not getting through to you. Maybe we need to go our separate ways. And I can't blame Nixick, but maybe do it behind closed doors.
Yeah, I got you. So fair enough. Moving into our rest of our news this week. Shout out West Till Death helping us out, because UFC news alerts ain't been posted. Looks like UFC is going to Iowa, D-Rose. UFC Iowa Fight Night, May 3rd. Looks like Santiago Ponzinibbio versus D-Rod is going to be on that card. What's your thoughts here, man?
That's a good little scrap. I mean, that's kind of like the perfect type of matchmaking for the most part. Both guys going to go in there and strike. I will say that D-Rod doesn't necessarily carry as much power as he did when he first got into the UFC. I know he kind of had the PED scandal there a little bit, and maybe that was what took away from his power. Man, Ponzi still, as he showed in that Carlson Harris fight, he still got power. He still got speed. Man, that's a fight I might like for Ponzi, man.
Yeah, May 3rd, dude. There we go. 6 fights canceled on the UFC Seattle card. So Cruz versus Font got canceled. Blades versus Kunev got moved to a new date. Edson Barbosa versus Steve Garcia, dude. Austin, I feel for you, brother, because that was a banger, dude. I was ready for that one. We
I was
had
excited for that one.
yeah, Kellen Vieira versus Macy Chasson. I know D Rose was excited for Macy Chasson to fight. Uh, Abdul
I'm so
Malik versus
devastated.
Mansour Abdul Malik versus Anton Tricali was going to be on here, and Anton Tricali is out, but Abdul Malik has a fight replacement, and Adam Fujit versus Dulayev was going to be on here, but then a replacement got put in for Adam Fujit, and then that one also fell out too. This was put out 6 days ago now, so a few more fights have fell out since then. This is the UFC 313 card. Pretty cool so far. Brandon Moreno's. Oh wait, no, just kidding. This is the next It's the next 5 events. We've got 313. Those. What the hell is happening here? I'm gonna go to the next one. I don't like that. Anyway, let's see here. Anyway, here's our first news, dude. This is the banger right here. We got Jalen Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is going to be UFC 313, March 8th, dude. What's your immediate thoughts on this fight? I think you might be muted, my guy.
Oh yeah. I think this one is going to be interesting, man. I really like this fight. Jalen Turner is one of those guys, man. I will say he's a little bit of a front runner, but I'm curious to see Bahamondes has not taken the step up in competition to this point yet. I know he's kind of regarded as always having the skill. He hasn't had the point or hasn't had the opportunity to prove it yet. But at this type of ranking where Turner's at now, hey, let's see if Bahamondes is ready for the top of the rankings. I do like that matchup, man, and that's a banger fight.
You know I'm a big Jalen Turner fan, right?
Correct.
D Rose, I think I'm at the point now where I have to accept the fact where I don't really think he wants to be a fighter. I think he's good at it, and so he does it, but it's just kind of like a hobby for him, and he really doesn't care to be the best fighter in the world. So I think Bahamondes probably wins this fight, man.
I think Bahamondes could potentially finish him.
Yeah, I could see it, dude.
But that's just me. I think Bahamondes got a little streak going. I think he's got his confidence back after a few early knocks in the UFC. Man, I mean, honestly, I really like that matchup for Bahamondes. I mean, Jalen Turner, if he fights anybody that's relatively close to his size, he does tend to crumble a little bit. I mean, he uses his size advantage at 155, but Bahamondes is not going to give up much size at all, and going to be just as sharp, if not a sharper striker than Turner as well.
Yeah, those are like the 2 biggest lightweights, dude. That's gonna be a fun fight. And this will be this weekend. Rob Font versus Jean Matsumoto, dude. The odds for this, dude, are wild right now. I might be leaning toward Rob Font already for this weekend, just strictly due to the odds, man. Any early thoughts before we talk about it?
Yeah,
because this was announced 4 days ago.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
All right. Anthony Smith on paper is returning against Ming Yang Zhang. This is going to be April 26th. You like the last fight for Anthony Smith?
I will say I actually like it. I know Anthony Smith was kind of saying that he might want somebody with a bigger name, but when you think about it in terms of, Ming Yang, they're trying to move some of these up and comers up into the rankings because let's just face it, light heavyweight, it needs some new blood right now. It desperately needs some new blood. Alex Pereira is obviously the biggest star, but I can't anticipate him being around forever. You know what I mean? So I think they're going to try to incorporate some new blood this way. And Ming Yang Zhang, man, he's been showing some big knockout power in his first couple of UFC fights. So I'm going to be excited to see what he can do. Anthony Smith is as tough as they come, man, but that could be a very tough matchup against Ming Yang. I believe you're on mute.
Indeed. So that's going to be UFC Kansas City, April 26th. So if you're in that Kansas City area, UFC fights coming close to you. That's the card for this weekend. That's some shit that no one cares about. The Mike Tyson shit. Here we go, dude. This is a fun one. You think this happens? Francis Ngannou versus Deontay Wilder targeted for a boxing fight, dude. I was a big Deontay Wilder fan until I don't know what he started doing, dude, but he started doing circles and like while he was like training, and then he got knocked out by the big Asian dude, and I was like, okay, yeah, he's done. He's done. I was a big Bronze Bomber fan. Bomb Squad.
Yeah, no, same. I love Deontay Wilder, and I believe me and you both were very heavy on him against Tyson Fury when those matches were made. I know I was. I was pretty big.
Yeah.
I was thinking Deontay Wilder should have won. I thought he won the first fight. I thought going into the second fight, I thought Wilder's going to win, and the third fight between Wilder and Fury was absolutely nuts. One of the best boxing matches I ever watched. I mean, they went back and forth at it. So Deontay Wilder has put on some wild fights. I love watching him fight, man. He's put on some bangers, but you are right. He's looked a little rough in his last few. But Francis, I mean, we also saw what he looked like in the boxing ring in his last fight too. I mean, obviously he came back against Renan Ferreira and looked great, but man, I don't know. I mean, the problem is that PFL doesn't have anything for Francis. So it's like, what do you have really to keep him around? Yeah, exactly. So you don't really have anything to do with him there, but it's like you want him to fight MMA because I think that's where he's at his most dominant. But how can you blame him for taking boxing fights? Because as you said, PFL is not going to be able to pay him, and they don't have anybody really to match him up against. So why not take a boxing fight? I don't know if it'll really happen, but hey, I'd be in for it.
Yeah, I'm down for it. I don't know what happens though. I'll watch it. We got a fun one here. May 3rd, Yana Santos versus Cupcake Misha Tate. That's going to be UFC Iowa as well. May 3rd. You care about that one at all? Foxy Yana versus the Cupcake.
I will say again, this just goes to show where the women's bantamweight division is at because Misha Tate.
Oh wow,
this
is at bantamweight, dude. I thought she went down to 125, man.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you think Yana Santos is going to be able to make 125? No, this is that at bantamweight, and again, it goes to show where this women's bantamweight division is at when you have Yana Santos and Misha Tate ranked in the top 11 in 2025 and in the women's bantamweight division. It just lets you know all you need to know.
Yeah, I agree, man. Here we go. We do have a fun one here though. UFC 314 in Miami is going to be co-headlined by Kai Kara France and Alexandre the Cannibal Pantoja, dude. Good fight, but dude, we've already seen this more than once, dude. It like when Pantoja won this belt, I was like, he will have this belt for so long because he's already beat everyone in the division multiple times. There's no one that can challenge him for this belt. And so far, dude, I have been spot on, 100% right, because he's just smoking everybody. I think he probably smokes KKF again here. What's your thoughts?
Man, I will say they did face each other on the Ultimate Fighter. They haven't faced each other in the UFC since. So it's not coming up on a like a Brandon Moreno situation where he basically already beat him in the Ultimate Fighter and in the UFC once. So you can kind of chalk it up to it being an exhibition fight for the Ultimate Fighter. We did pick on our prediction show. I said, man, I don't know where Kai Kara France is going to be. I think Pantoja will be the champ unless he fights Kai Kara France. Man, that's I of course we're going to predict the fight when it comes, man. But
that's your guy,
man. That's interesting. That's my guy, man. But that is interesting, man. I think Kai. I think his takedown defense is great. He's got power. Pantoja gets hit a lot. He's older. Ooh, I don't know, man. I think High Care France can cook up an upset, but of course it's all still early. We still got fight week to wait for, but man, that's a fun fight, man. I'm in for it.
Indeed, indeed. One that I predicted on our prediction show was that Natalia Silva would probably be the champion by the end of this year, dude. And we both were like, yeah, I think you were like, I think she's 2 or 3 more fights away. Dude, if she wins this fight, she's probably next up, right? Like Manon Fior, Natalia Silva, if she wins this fight.
Yeah. I would have to think. I mean, and one of my big things was I don't know if she's going to necessarily get that matchup to kind of, get her up there to the title shot, but a matchup against Alexa Grasso, the former champ who did beat Valentina Shevchenko and took Valentina Shevchenko to a draw. Yeah, I mean, you get a win over somebody like that, and let's say you do it in impressive fashion. That is something that is title shot worthy. So that is something that Natalia Silva is up for, but we know Alexa Grasso is as game as they come. As I said, she upset Valentina Shevchenko and, taking Valentina to the brink on multiple occasions. So we know how tough Alexa Grasso is. And man, that's really, really good matchmaking.
Yeah, dude. I told my fiance we're both Alexa Grasso fans. I looked her square in the eyes. I'm like, babe, we're Alexa Grasso fans, but I think Natalia Silva beats her easily, dude. I truly think she's your next champion, dude. She's got the cleanest striking in the division, even more clean than Manon Fior. I don't care what anyone says. She's so fucking good, dude. She will be the champion. If not by this year, for sure by next year. There's Derek Lewis' career. What are they doing? All right, I'm gonna click the X here. Let's see what else we got. I know. Let's do the one that Antoine wanted to talk about. Right here we go, dude. Go ahead.
Bang, bang.
Pull it up on the screen. Antoine asked about it earlier. Oh, Carlos Prates versus Jeff Neal. That's going to be April 12th, UFC Miami, dude. Yeah, we know Jeff Neal's a dog, but Carlos Prates is, he's a cigarette smoker, and you don't mess with cigarette smokers. That's just what it is. You don't care about yourself smoking cigarettes, so he sure for his hell don't care about anyone else. So you're gonna get smoked, man. I think Carlos Prates knocks out Jeff Neal, dude. You probably gonna agree with me, but UFC 314 April 12th. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, that's man, that's one I'm not gonna lie. That's a little bit closer than what I think some people are gonna suggest, and I think it's just because Jeff Neal's counterboxing, because Carlos Prates, he can tend to get hit just a little bit, and Jeff Neal's clean, but we've also seen Jeff Neal go in there and lay an absolute egg too. So the biggest problem for me is that we don't know what Jeff Neal we're going to get. He could go in there and show out, or he could just go in there and look like how he did against Neil Magny and just not try at all. So, but Carlos Prates, hey, right on cue for your brother. You're smoking with him, and you're smoking right now for Carlos Prates. So you know what I mean? Just speaking into existence there. But Carlos Prates, man, we know what Carlos Prates we're going to get every fight, and that dude's going to come out there looking to land that bomb and get you out of there. So that's a good fight.
Hell yeah. And I don't know if we have any more that are worthy. No, I think that's the last one. So that's our last bit of UFC news and fight announcements for this week. I guess before we jump into the fights for this week, I guess we could go over pick champ, because I forgot to do it. I forgot to do it last week, and I was about to forget to do it this week until I just looked down right at it. You got clean sweep last week, D Rose, believe it or not, and even the ones that we threw out, I was right on those too. But that's what happens when I basically get all the fights right, aside from 2. So pick champ this past week was Walter Walker versus Don't Mays, Rafael Esteban versus Jesus Aguilar, and Angie Hill versus Caitlin Souza. Got a robbery on the Angie Hill one, but I'll take it. Esteban wins and Johnny Walker's brother wins. Pick champ back over here on this side. We'll eventually find some kind of punishment. I don't know, D-Rose. I'll find something we could agree with. I mean, you lost. It wasn't me, so it's okay.
No, I'm saying boo as far as me losing.
Yeah.
Bad week for me this week, man.
Yeah. I mean, you still didn't do terrible on your picks though, right?
If I'm being honest, I can't I didn't keep track of them this past week. I don't think I did terrible, but I didn't do great either.
I got you. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the fights for this weekend. Make sure my screen is sharing. Indeed it is. We've got Dana White's Contender Series, Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. Oh, just kidding. Oh man, this fight has really took a turn for the worst, dude. There was some decent fights on this card, and they've just all fell apart. And this basically turned into a Contender Series card, dude. A lot of people brought in for this card specifically, like the UFC was like, hey, anyone currently fighting on this card who is with you on your team right now that also wants to fight on this card. That's basically what happened, dude. Or they just called local guys from the Seattle area. Austin could have been on this card if he tried too hard enough.
You missed your chance, bro.
All right. Anyway, this weekend taking place Saturday, February 22nd at 6 p.m. East Coast time with a prelim. So we got a little bit of a late start for a fight night, but it is what it is. It's going to be taking place at the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. Right now, we have 12 fights on this card. Could change by that time. Headlined by Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong, dude. And for some reason, all week, dude, something tells me this fight ain't happening. This headliner is going to be Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. I don't know why. I just feel like that main event, it just probably ain't going to happen. No reasoning.
I mean, at this point, you can't be surprised with all the dropouts that this card has had.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just, I don't know. Just something tells me we're going to get Brendan Allen, Anthony Hernandez as a 5-round main event. But for now, 5 rounds in your main event, we've got Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. In our co-main event, we've got Brendan Allen versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, 3 rounds right now. We've got Rob Font taking on Jean Matsumoto. We've got Jean Silva taking on Melsa Kabagdasarian. We've got Atomic Alonzo Mineville taking on the Juice Box Julius Walker. We've got Iwan the Hulk Kutilaba taking on Ebo Aslan. We've got Andre Touchy-Feely taking on Melquiziel Costa or Melky Coffee Costa. I believe that's his little fight name. Also, real quick, as I see Andre Feely's name, was it me or did Caitlin Souza look exactly like Andre Feely last week in the Octagon? Like from neck up, dude, they're the same head.
Have you ever seen them in the same room? Let's just leave it at that.
I haven't. We've got Nick Klein taking on Mansour Abdul Malik. We've got Ricky Simone taking on Javed Basharat. We've got Mr. PVZ, Austin Vanderford, making his UFC debut on 3 or 4 days' notice against Nikolai Veretennikov, which was not on this card either. We've seen Austin in Bellator, and I don't know, just doesn't look the greatest, kind of just living off of his wife at this point, to be honest. And shout out you, dude. But I mean, not the best fighter in the world. We got Nursultan Rizaboev. His little brother was going to fight last weekend, but he's going to be taking on Eric McConaughey. In our first fight of the night, opening it up, we've got Modestas Bukauskas taking on Rafael Kinsankara or Kesakara. I don't know how to say that. D-Rose, look at all these fights that fell off this card, dude. That's a whole fight card. That Billy Ray Golf versus Adam Fuji, dude. Could you imagine the things that Billy Ray Golf would have done to Adam Fuji, dude? I was excited to bet on that fight. Could you imagine?
Yeah, and as you said,
or Abdul Malik versus Antonio Pleasure Man Tricali, dude. Wait, no, that's not Pleasure Man. That's
Mackenzie Dern.
Dern's. Yeah. Could you imagine that, dude? Like,
the one, as you said, the one was Barboza and Steve Garcia. That was the one. That was the one that we needed to see. That out of all of them that fell off, that's the one that hurts the most.
I feel you, dude. I feel you. I mean, but who doesn't love some Macy Chasson versus Kellen Vieira, though? All right, so we will go ahead and get started. First fight of the night. Well, I guess before we get started, what's your thoughts on the card as a whole? You know, now that it's kind of set, I guess we might have a final card to look forward to this weekend.
I will give the UFC credit in that. Look, you know, it was something that was supposed to be good. We saw the matchups on this card. We saw the fights that ended up falling off. It was supposed to be a banger, and unfortunately, it's not that anymore. But the UFC has made let's hope chicken salad out of chicken shit. They gathered the chicken shit together, but that they're cooking it right now to see if they can turn it into that chicken salad that everybody wants. But of course, we got to wait for the performances to see. But just based off names alone in the matchups, it's not looking great.
Yeah, dude. So let's go ahead and get in it. First fight of the night, we've got Modestas the Baltic Gladiator Bukauskas taking on Rafael the Lion Cursicara. Probably said that wrong, but it's okay. I don't speak Portuguese. Trying to zoom in. There we go. Modestas Bukauskas is 16-6 overall, 31 years old, 6'3" and a 78-inch reach, while Rafael is 34 years old, 6'3" and a 76-inch reach. D-Rose, currently odds for this fight are minus 270 Modestas Bukauskas and plus 220 for Rafael here. Over under on this is set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 130. Under 1.5 is plus 100. Yesterday, I saw Modestas was minus 330, and I immediately thought to myself, is this guy alive? Like, does he have any wins? Because Modestas should not be a minus 330 favorite over anyone in the UFC. He should be like a minus 330 favorite over Dylan Budka, a weight class down. You know, like that. Like he
shouldn't be a minus 330 favorite against a kitten, let alone a UFC fighter.
Yeah, currently minus 270, dude. And went back. I was like, who is this guy? This guy came in, got smoked against Ibo Aslan in his last fight. So we really don't know anything about him. Went back, looked at him. I think he was like on the Contender Series. Looked all right there. You know, came out, smoked the guy early. So that being said, I know Modestas Bukauskas' chin is pretty bad. I know he's not the most active fighter. So yeah, dude, I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot on this big dog. First fight of the night at plus 220. Give me Rafael the Lion Cursicara to win this fight. I think he probably knocks Modestas out in one of the first 2 rounds, man. Which way are you going here? I'm gonna go grab a soda.
Yeah, well, the worst part is that everything you said about this fight is exactly how I feel. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. That, you know, again, I said it. Modestas Bukauskas should not be a minus 330 favorite against a kitten, let alone a UFC fighter. I'm not saying Rafael is a world beater by any means, but maybe I'm just looking at this more in terms of a gambling value versus you know, actually who I think is going to win. But I mean, it looks like Rafael, you know, does have power in his hands. Modestas Bukauskas has been a guy who has been hurt in the past. I mean, he got hurt by Marcin Prachnio with a question mark kick when they were standing right in
From
front of each
6 inches. Right?
Yeah, they were standing right in front of each other, and he still ended up hurting him with a question mark kick. So, I mean, good on Marcin Prachnio to land that, but just to say that, hey, Modestas gets hit, and Rafael can deliver a big blow. So let's go on Rafael second round knockout.
All right, me and D-Rose both on Rafael as the dog to knock out Modestas Bukauskas this weekend. We got that Tangy Sack in here late again. Sorry, Austin, won't happen again. It's all right, Tangy Sack. We appreciate you stopping by tonight. So up next, we do have Nursultan Rizaboev taking on Eric Mechanico. This is one where it's like, I guess we have a fight here. Nursultan Rizaboev, 34-9-2. 31 years old, 6'5" and a 76-inch reach. Eric Mechanico was not on this card, not UFC level at all. 9-2-1 overall, 34 years old, 6 foot and a 75-inch reach. I think we all can agree that Nursultan isn't really. He's a big guy. He's got power. You know, he's got about a first round, but if he don't get you out of there in that first round, he's kind of willing to pack it up and go home. You know, look at that Joaquin Buckley fight. You know, no, not saying that Buckley's not good or anything like that. It's just, you know, we don't know enough about Eric Mechanico to really do anything here. So I guess I'll go Nursultan Rizaboev to win this fight via first round knockout, because that's how he wins unless he gets taken down and throws up something off of his back. But UFC newcomer on short notice. This guy's going to come in here and set his nutsack on the table and start swinging his dick. Give me Nursultan Rizaboev first round knockout here. Which way are you going here, man? Well, sorry. Let me do odds. Sorry. Nursultan Rizaboev minus 285, your favorite. Eric Mechanico plus 230, your underdog. Over/under on this one is set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 125. Under 1.5 is minus 105.
Yeah, the only thing that I could gather from Mechanico, I don't even think there's any like tape on him or anything like that. He does seem like a guy who likes to use his wrestling, though. You know, got a couple of submission wins. I know he's got some TKOs, but it looks like some of those are like ground and pound stoppages for the most part. So, but I think Nursultan is a guy. You know, he's got decent wrestling. I'm not the most convinced that he's that good, but I do think as far as us about Mechanico, what do we know? Not a damn thing. 34 years old, coming in, making your UFC debut. Nursultan's going to be the much bigger guy. So I think in terms of him being able to establish the distance, if it comes to the striking, but I think I can see Nursultan actually trying to use a little bit of wrestling and maybe trying to get a submission himself. I'll go Nursultan Rizaboev. Let's go submission round 2.
All right. Me and D-Rose both on Nursultan Black Rizaboev. Not confidently, because he's not the best fighter, but against a UFC newcomer, we can kind of see it. I'm going round 1 knockout, D-Rose on round 2 sub. Up next, we've got Austin, the gentleman, or Mr. PVZ Vandervert, taking on Nikolai Veretinnikov. Austin Vanderford is 12-2 overall, 34 years old, 5'11" and a 74-inch reach, while Nikolai Veretinnikov is 12-5 overall, 35 years old, 6'1" and a 75-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are minus 135 for Nikolai Veretinnikov, and Austin Vanderford is plus 114, your underdog. D-Rose, I will do you the honors, and I will pass this one, or I will let you do the honors, and I will pass it to you because I feel as if you may know a little bit more about Austin Vanderford than me. We've seen Nikolai in the UFC one time. He did lose, so it's not like he's top level UFC talent here. Give me your thoughts and opinions on Vanderford, and how you think this fight goes.
No, I think this is I think it could be an interesting fight. As you said, we've only seen Nikolai once in the UFC, but I believe was it against Danny Barlow that I see. Yeah, Danny Barlow, and it was a
left
split
hand to God, and he
Yeah.
knocks everybody out.
Yeah, and it went to a split decision as well. So, we know Nikolai to be, a tough dude and everything. I think Austin Vanderford, he trains with Chael Sonnen, and, kind of up in that camp and that group up there. And I know Austin Vanderford, he's kind of like the wrestle boxer type. Of course, his dominant game is wrestling. He's got some pretty decent boxing, good leg kicks. He's not the most polished striker. He's not going to put all these combos together or anything, but he's got pretty good cardio. And again, pretty good boxing. Now, the only thing taking this on 6 days notice, I believe both these guys are taking it on, very short notice here. So credit to both guys for stepping up, being ready, and taking this opportunity. But I am going to be interested to see how this fight kind of goes later on. Austin Vanderford is a guy who uses his wrestling, but hey, if his wrestling is not working, he can get a little bit tired later in the fight. That is something that I could see working against him here. But Nikolai, I think that he had gotten taken down by Danny Barlow a couple times in that fight as well. As that fight kind of went on later in the fight, I think Vanderford should be able to do that. Vanderford taking the fight on short notice, both of them as well, but I think he'll be able to have the gas tank to be able to kind of outlast them. Let's go Vanderford by decision.
All right. Fair enough. I don't want to disagree with you completely, so this is strictly just my point of view, dude. But if my wife is making like $10 million a year, showing her butthole and other holes and her titties online, dude, I'm not going into the gym every day and getting punched in the face. For what, dude? I'm chilling at home. I'm playing some PS5. I'm going shopping. Like I just
Are you going
don't.
to shoot some scenes with her?
You said what?
Are you going to shoot some scenes with her?
I mean, shit, dude. If we get millions of dollars, dude, I'm down, dude. I'm down. But I can't imagine you just going to the gym getting punched in the face every day when your girl could just post up a butthole picture and you get, a couple $100,000 just for that. Take care of anything you wanted, dude. So I don't think he's serious. I think this is just an opportunity that he took. And I'm going to go with a guy that actually probably wants to be here. Let's go Nikolai Veretennikov to win this fight via decision with no other reasoning that, this guy is not a real serious fighter. I mean, it just is what it is. Dave, whoa. I heard butthole. Drop the link. Dave, I'm sure you have all the links. Please do not drop anything.
Yeah. No, I would say nothing banned.
Yeah, I'm slinging dick all day for millions. Not even a question. Not even a question. All right, so I will go Veretennikov, the Rose on Vander. All right. With that being said, we'll go ahead and move on to the next fight, being a Ricky Simone taking on Javid the Snow Leopard Basharat. Ricky Simone, 20-6 overall, 32 years old, 5'6" and a 70-inch reach, while Javid the Snow Leopard Basharat is 14-1 overall, 29 years old, 5'9" and a 69-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are plus 205 for Ricky Simone, Javid Basharat minus 250. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 395. Under 2.5 is plus 280. Yeah, D Rose, we saw Javid Basharat lose his last fight or fight before. Which one was it? Last one or the fight before to Amin Zahabi?
I do believe I don't have it.
I think it was the last one.
Yeah, I believe it was his last one, and then he had the fight before with the weird Victor Henry decision.
Yeah.
So last fight was Amos Zahabi, fight before was Victor Henry. So
Was the
2 fights,
nutsack kick. Yeah.
winless streak. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess before the UFC, he was getting a lot of finishes, dude. And in the UFC, he just doesn't seem to be that guy. He seemed to be content just winning a point fighting decision. As for Ricky Simone, on the other hand, I think we've seen his ceiling, dude. He's 32 years old. One could argue he's in his prime right now, but I think we've seen the best Ricky Simone that there is to see. He's a solid wrestler, got all right boxing, but not gonna really wow you anywhere. Got solid cardio, can go all 3 rounds, but I think where he's gonna find the issues here is getting inside on Javid Bashra. I think the way Javid moves, his footwork is very, very clean, and I don't think Ricky Simone can find his way in to get inside to take down Javid Bashra. So I just think we see a pretty easy decision win for Javid Bashra. And finally, D-Rose, we don't have to pay the giant fucking tax that he's been costing this minus 800, minus 900, minus 1100, minus 1000. He's minus 250 this week. So give me Javid Bashra to win this fight via decision. And for that to happen currently on DraftKings is minus 135. So I don't hate it. Javid Bashra via decision for me. Which way are you going, D-Rose?
Yeah, I will say that, for Javid Bashra, I think a big thing that got him caught up in that last fight too with Amos Zahabi was that as you're looking at the reach, Javid Bashra does have a short reach for him to have the height that he does. But Amos Zahabi was kind of able to pick him apart a little bit. And he was really able to just outwork Javid Bashra as well. It was like every single time Javid Bashra would land one, Amos Zahabi would throw 2 or 3. Like he was able to just really outwork Javid Bashra. I think Javid Bashra is almost kind of like he's almost just like the super technical guy. That's crazy. Yeah, I think Javid's the super technical guy, but I am with you. He doesn't really have that finishing instinct. I think there's a little bit of adversity there, as Amos Zahabi is able to show. I don't know if he's willing to kind of, embrace that dog, but I don't know if Ricky Simone really has got that ability to really bring that out of him. I think, Ricky Simone, his path to victory is the wrestling, but I am with you. I think he's going to have a hard time getting inside of Javid Bashra with Javid Bashra's footwork, and I think he's going to keep him at distance with that teep and jab, throw some leg kicks in there as well. I think it's going to be a decision win here for Javid Bashra.
Yeah, me and D-Rose both agree. Javid Bashra via decision. DK is currently minus 135. FanDuel, you'll probably get maybe even minus 110 or something like that. Up next, we've got Nick Blue Collar Klein taking on Mansur Abdul Malik. Nick Blue Collar Klein is 6-1 overall, 29 years old. 6'1" and a 77-inch reach, and his exact age of 29 years, 5 months, and 2 weeks might be the exact age that he dies at this weekend, because he is going to be taking on Mansur Abdul Malik. That is 7-0, 27 years old, 6'2", and an 80-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are minus 1,000 for Mansur Abdul Malik, and Nick Blue Collar Klein is plus 650, the underdog. Over-under on this one is set at 1.5. The over 1.5 is plus 170. The under 1.5 is minus 220. Yeah, we saw Mansur Abdul Malik one time in the UFC. He fought Dusko Todorovic, and we haven't seen Dusko since. So. You're just gonna leave it at that. He might still be knocked out, dude. Yeah, dude. Nick Klein, dude, does this not look like a dude that went to our high school?
Actually, I could have swore that he did. I could have swore he did.
I swear he looks like a dude.
I felt like I knew a Nick Klein.
Dude,
I definitely see him spitting in a spit bottle. He definitely had a spit bottle in his book bag.
His fucking pants tucked into his boots. Dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, 1,000.
Your boots aren't even tied, and your pants are tucked into them. What are you trying to
And
do?
he smells like car oil and like motor oil and shit.
You know what?
It's like, dude, why do you smell like you've been working outside? We've been in school all day.
We're just describing Austin.
We are. Yeah, we are.
Oh my
Spit bottle in the
goodness.
book bag and everything.
Yeah. Nick Klein looks like he probably done a few hard drugs in his days. Yeah, I think he's gonna wish he did a hard drug after he gets knocked out this weekend. He's gonna be like, man, why didn't I just decide to keep doing these hard drugs instead of getting in the octagon with this absolute monster? Yeah, give me Mansur Abdul Malik, round 1 knockout, dude. Nick Klein's only path to victory is a late sub, but I don't think he gets there, man. Mansur or early knockout for me. What about you, man?
Yeah. I pretty much got the same. Analysis that at Mansur Abdul Malik is a monster early. But that is Nick Klein's only path to victory is that he's going to have to weather the storm against Mansur Abdul Malik. And Mansur Abdul Malik is coming in here with the fight camp where Nick Klein, I think his best opportunity is late. He's taking the fight on short notice. So I can't imagine that his gas tank is going to be able to be the best. I'm going to go Mansur Abdul Malik, round 1 knockout.
All right, me and D Rose both on Mansur Abdul Malik. Up next, we've got Andre Touchy Feely taking on Melky Costa. Andre Feely is 24-11 overall, 34 years old, 5'11" and a 74-inch reach, while Melky Costa is 28 years old, 5'10" and a 71-inch reach. Yeah, dude, tough one for me because let me do odds. Andre Feely -105. Melky Coffey is -115. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is -200. Under 2.5 is +154. Tough one for me to call because we saw Melky Coffey look all right a few times. But also we haven't seen him look very impressive either. On the other hand, Andre Feely, I feel like he gets wobbled, cracked like every time he fights. I think he's been submitted a few times, dude. And I think maybe just a little bit older now, been getting cracked a little bit. Maybe we can see a club and sub from Melky Coffey this week. So that being said, I think we see the young kid, come in here, drop down to featherweight, this is his actual division. Be able to put some pause on Andre Feely and hurt him bad enough to where we see Andre Feely want to shoot in or just drops him, and then we see Melky Coffey hop on his back. So give me club and sub for Melky Coffey. Let's go round 2. Which way are you going here, man?
This one I've actually been a little bit up in the air on. I'm not as big on Melky Coffey. Melky Coffey. Is that what it is? I don't know. I haven't been as big of a believer in Costa. As you said, we've seen moments in him before, but it does seem, even when he kind of gets up to that middling level at the competition level, that he does tend to fall back a little bit. But Andre Feely, I will say, I know he won the Cub Swanson fight in his last fight, but I didn't necessarily think that he won that fight.
Cub looked real good against him, and Cub's old, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cub also looked good in his last fight too. I mean, Cub, when Cub wants to, man, Cub can look good, but I thought Cub Swanson won that fight personally. Andre Feely did sneak out of there with the split decision win, but he looked okay, but he was getting touched up in that fight a lot. But I do think so for Costa, I don't know if he's got the most power in his hands to really deter Andre Feely. Andre Feely does have the reach advantage, has a snappy jab, and if we see Melky Costa end up getting beat, it has been mostly due to grapplers. I want to take a shot here. Andre Feely can use his wrestling from time to time. He is a smart fighter, good IQ. I'm going to go Andre Feely here. I want to take him to get a decision win. I think it'd be a scrappy fight. I think we'll see a lot of scrambles, But I think Andre Fili gets it done by decision.
All right. Caitlin Souza going to lose 2 weeks in a row. Moving on, we've got
Crazy.
Iwan the Hulk Kutalaba taking on the last Ottoman, Ibo Aslan. Iwan the Hulk Kutalaba is 18, 10, and 1, 31 years old, 6'1" and a 75-inch reach, while Ibo the last Ottoman Aslan is 14 and 1 overall, 28 years old, 6'3" and a 77.5-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are plus 150 for Iwan Kutalaba and minus 180 for Ibo Aslan. Over under on this one is set at 1.5. 115 apiece, dude. I'm gonna be real quick here. I actually love the under here because it's an Iwan Kutalaba fight, and this fucking dork, yeah, he's just he's a dork, you know. That's just that. When I see Iwan Kutalaba, I immediately think you fucking dork. Like that's just what I think. Now, if I saw him in person, I'd be like, oh wow, that's a pretty scary dude. But you know, where he's not going to tower over me like or anything like that. We're probably relatively the same height, so he's just a dork, you know? And I'm not. With that being said, Ibo Aslan in his last fight crushed Rafael, that's also fighting on this card very early in the first round, so didn't really tell us a whole lot. The only time Ibo's lost was against the Pleasure Man.
Pleasure Man.
Yeah, I forgot his name now, but that was before the UFC, and then in the UFC, he Tricali did avenge his defeat. So yeah, dude, I think that was in the Atlantic City card. I was actually there. If so, I know I was at the fight. I don't know if it was at the Atlantic City fight or not. But yeah, dude, for as how odds are here, dude, I don't mind the under, and I don't mind Ibo Aslan. Don't mind Ibo Aslan money line, but Ibo Aslan to win and under a round and a half is plus 130. Yeah, give me Ibo Aslan to knock out Iwan Kutalaba in the first round, because Kutalaba is going to go in there and do Kutalaba things and get knocked out in the first round, because that's what Iwan does. Which way are you going here, man?
When earlier I was talking about the fights that I didn't want to pick, this was the one. Yeah, this is the one that I was talking about that I did not feel comfortable with. Just mostly because
all you gotta do is just pick the opposite of Iwan, and you're probably on the right side.
Yeah, no, and I will never pick Iwan Kutalaba. As I told you, if there's a UFC fighter that I will tell you straight up, hey, I can pretty much find a way to like just about anybody. Like I cannot find a way to like Iwan Kutalaba at all. He is the biggest dork ever. He was the only guy who had ever made me cheer for Magomed Ankalaev. Like, you really have to do something in order to have somebody cheer for Magomed Ankalaev.
Dude, you remember he painted himself green?
Yes, painting himself green, and then just like screaming people's faces, looked like an absolute dork. And I remember when he tried to do that to Glover Teixeira, and Glover just ended up running right through him. That was absolutely hilarious. So yeah, I love that moment. I'm going to go Ibo Aslan. I'm not confident in Ibo once the fight goes later into the fight, but I think I do think he gets Iwan out of there early. Let's go round one knockout.
All right, fair enough. Up next, we've got Alonzo Atomic Minifield taking on the Juice Box, Julius Walker. Atomic Alonzo Minifield is 15, 5, and 1 overall, 37 years old, 6 foot and a 76-inch reach, while Julius the Juice Box Walker is 6-0, 25 years old, 6'4" and an 81-inch reach. Big guy for 205, yeah? What the hell happened? Is he there still? I'm pretty sure you just muted it and then started talking.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I thought because I started coughing there for a second, so I thought I
Okay.
muted it, and then I think I unmuted myself, then muted myself again. But hey, we're good now. But yeah, Julius Walker, no, it kind of reminds me of like John Jones size there a little bit, just with the 6'4" and the 81-inch reach. I mean, dude, dude's an absolute machine.
Yeah, man. I have to be honest. I think I've watched 1, 2 Julius Walker highlight clips. But I mean, that being said, it's a highlight clip. It's going to show his highlights. He's 6-0, 25 years old, making his UFC debut against top 25 light heavyweight in the world, dude. Probably not going to be the best look. We do see Atomic Alonzo Minifield have this one trick, and I don't know if many people have said it or talked about it this week. Currently, odds for this fight minus 245 for Atomic Alonzo Minifield. Julius Walker is plus 200. Your underdog. Over under on this one is set at 1.5. Over 1.5 minus 110. Under 1.5 is minus 120. I want to know, what is the Atomic Alonzo Minifield via submission? Plus 450. Dude, he has got a head and arm triangle that he goes to quite often. And I don't hate it, dude. I think he could probably take down Julius Walker and maybe get a head and arm triangle. Give me Alonzo Minifield to win this fight. Let's go second round submission. Which way are you going here, D-Rose?
Yeah, I will say that I'll keep it quick. I like Alonzo Minifield here. I think Walker coming in on short notice is going to be a tough thing, because I think Alonzo Minifield, basically I think where Walker best succeeds is probably in the grappling, but I think it's going to be hell to grapple with Alonzo Minifield, especially early. I mean, the dude is built like a brick shithouse, so he's already, stronger than Ox to begin with. Plus, you mean to tell me, he's going to get the full camp advantage as well. Yeah, I think that, Julius Walker could be a good fighter potentially, but again, experience level, and you're talking about camp level as well. I'm going to go Alonzo Minifield here. I'm going to go second round TKO. I think it ends up being a situation where he's on the ground and ends up getting some nasty ground and pound and getting the win there. So let's go second round TKO for Alonzo Minifield.
Gotcha. And Antoine, in here live now, boys. This is a massive moment in Julius's life. Would you guys take a UFC debut on short notice? Considering I haven't done any form of training in 6-7 years. No, not me. How about you, D Rose?
No, not at all. Would not be in the slightest bit prepared. But I would say that, okay, well, I mean, if you had a fight booked on the 22nd, then that could change it a little bit as well. But I am still going to go with the experience level for Alonzo Minifield as well.
All right, me and D Rose both on Atomic Alonzo Minifield. Moving on, we've got Gene Lord Silva taking on Melsik the Gun Bogdasarian. Gene, Lord Silva is 14-2 overall, 28 years old, 5'7" and a 69-inch reach, while Melsik the Gun Bogdasarian is 33 years old, 5'9" and a 70-inch reach. Dude, there is not a more cocky striker in the UFC than Melsik Bogdasarian. You watch him every single weigh-in, he just is up there chewing gum like the dude in front of him ain't got shit for him, dude. And he is a pretty solid striker. But he's taking on Gene Silva this weekend, dude. And Gene Silva is a fucking problem, dude, at 145 and at 155, dude. This dude knocked out Drew Dober. Like, broke his hands, both his hands on Drew Dober's face, and then started throwing elbows at Drew Dober, dude. It's like, this guy's a fucking nutcase. I would not want to hang out with him for more than maybe an hour or so, because I feel like I'd probably end up in some sort of trouble or in jail. But I do love me the fighting nerds. I am a fan of watching this guy fight. Sheer entertainment. Lord Silva, he probably knocks out Melsik Bagdasaryan somewhere in the second round. But I will say, if he wants to make this fight a lot easier, he could use his takedowns because he's got a solid ground game that we haven't seen in the UFC yet. And Melsik is a very good striker. So if he tries to stay on the feet, it could get sketchy, dude. And currently the line's minus 500 Gene Silva, plus 380 Melsik Bagdasaryan. If this is strictly on the feet all 3 rounds, it could get sketchy if we don't see Gene Silva land a big shot to hurt Melsik at some point. Give me Gene Silva by knockout, but I don't think I'll be betting this one. And if so, I will maybe be taking a shot at Melsik by decision, which is currently plus 700. So not the worst line just to take a little shot at, but give me Gene Silva. I said round 2. Let's go round 3 knockout just to be safe. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think, if you look at just the odds alone, you would be like, oh man, like, yeah, this is a squash matchup. But I mean, we've seen both these guys fight, and Melsik Bagdasaryan, he's a good fighter, man. So I'm just surprised to see the line be as wide as it is. I know Drew
fighting
yeah, and I was about to say, I know Gene Silva's got a lot of momentum right now, and hey, understandably so. He's looked incredible his last 2 fights. But yeah, it just goes to show, especially when these lines are set betting wise. A lot of it is there's a lot of recency bias set up in there. But I will say Melsik Bagdasaryan, good striker. Gene Silva, he's got good power in his hands, good boxing. As you said, he's got that mental twitch too. That he's got just enough screws loose up there.
Dude, he's a nutcase. Really... No, he don't have a screw that's not loose. He was hugging Drew Dober, like high fiving him. Was like, yeah, and then immediately fucking cry. Like, what is wrong with you? You're like cheering on a dude, giving him high fives after you just crushing him in the face, dude. He's like, yeah, good. You're tough, huh? Wham! Holy shit, you're still standing. Good one. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's the point, man. That's the point. They got that they got that dog in them, man. Yeah, I think Gene Silva is actually path to victory. We've seen Melsik Bagdasaryan getting taken down and submitted before in the UFC. I actually could see that being a route here for Gene Silva. I would not be surprised if Gene Silva was to actually get a submission here, and that's going to be my route. I've seen Melsik Bagdasaryan get submitted by Josh Kulabau, and Josh Kulabau is a good fighter. And I know that situation, it kind of happened real quick. It happened off a leg kick, and Josh Kulabau took the back real quick. But Gene Silva, a strong dude. I think the takedowns will be there for him. Melsik Bagdasaryan can get taken down. I say a takedown and submission for Gene Silva.
Fair enough. It's plus 650 Gene Silva by sub. In an alternate universe, Silva is a convict. Fucking dude's up in prison. It wouldn't surprise me if he's already been there in his younger years. he's already done that. All right. Gene Silva is one of those dudes. We would hear some crazy shit and be like, "Oh, you're going to jail one day." Yeah, exactly. Like who that dude robbed the bank from Mad Doe. That English dude. Who was that? D-Rose. The English fighter. The English UFC fighter. Fuck.
Oh man. So you got me.
It was a while ago. It was a long time ago. I'm sure one of the comments, so if I can pop it up here in a second because it's pretty known. Anyway, me and D-Rose both on Gene Silva to win that fight. Up next, we've got Rob Font taking on Gene Matsumoto. We got 2 pairs of jeans on the fight card, fighting in a row. We got a pair of jeans. Anyway, Rob Font, 21-8, 37 years old, 5'8" and a 71.5" while Gene Matsumoto is 25 years old, 5'6" and a 68.5" reach. Whoa, the undefeated Gene Matsumoto is currently Minus 148, your favorite. Rob Font is plus 124, your underdog. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5, minus 315. Under 2.5 is plus 230. Yeah, tough fight to call. Dude, what does it say? Anderson Silva and Silva's only 28 years old. He can really pursue something in the division. Yeah. Both Brazilian, man. Yeah, I know. Yeah. D Rose, this one's tough, dude, because Lee Murray, Lightning Lee Murray was his fight name too. I just needed to see it. Yeah, that was the English dude that like robbed millions of dollars from the banks while he was fighting in the UFC, D Rose. And he was like on the run and like they had no clue who it was. And he was fighting in the UFC still. There's like a whole fucking documentary about it. It's nuts, dude. It's nuts. But yeah, on this fight, dude, Gene Matsumoto is undefeated. So he's never really been shown that vet lesson. And we've seen Rob Font show a few vet lessons to a few young up-and-comers. One of our favorites in Adrian Yanez, dude. Gene Matsumoto is kind of a thick guy, though. Not as lanky as Adrian Yanez is, so I don't think the shots will affect Gene Matsumoto as much. But Rob Font looked very good against Kyler Phillips in his last fight as well. Another up-and-coming contender that Rob Font turned back, dude. And could another vet lesson happen this weekend against undefeated Gene Matsumoto? I say yes, dude. Give me Rob Font to win this fight via decision. I don't really feel confident about it, but I like Font at dog money against an undefeated fighter that is just – they don't know that they can lose yet. And we've seen Rob Font teach that lesson over and over again. Rob Font via decision for me. Which way you going here, man?
Yeah, this one is man, I'm not gonna lie, this one's tough for me to call because I am with you that Rob Font, dog money. He's turned back contenders multiple times. He's capable of doing it again. But we've seen Gene Matsumoto. He's looked good in the octagon so far. I personally thought that Brad Katona won that last fight against him, but that was a really close, really well contested fight that Gene Matsumoto.
I wish I was seeing this at 140 as well.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's a catch weight because I'm sure Matsumoto is probably having trouble making weight. So that's what's got me kind of like, man, I don't know. I'm completely up in the air on this one. I'm going to go. Give me Gene Matsumoto here. I think if he could work the wrestling in, as you said, it's going to be at 140 now for the catch weight. His path to victory is the wrestling because I think if he keeps it on the feet, Rob Font's going to pick him apart. I think if Gene Matsumoto is able to get a takedown early and able to establish that control in the first round, that's going to be the key to victory. But if Rob Font's stuffing takedowns early, it might be a long night for Gene Matsumoto.
He's also training up at TriStar with Calvin Cater, dude. He might got them slippery legs.
3 fighters in the league.
Yeah, dude. He might got them slippery legs. You never know, dude.
Like, canola oil.
All right, man. So, we're split for the third time of the night. I'm on Rob Font, D Rose on Gene Matsumoto. Co-main event time could be the main event by the time this weekend happens. We've got Brendan All-In Allen taking on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Brendan All-In Allen is 24-6 overall, 29 years old, 6'2" and a 75-inch reach, while Anthony Fluffy Hernandez is 13-2 overall, 31 years old, 6 foot and a 75-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are plus 250 for Brendan Allen. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez is minus 310. This really should be a 5-round fight, dude. I wish it was. 3 rounds leaves a lot to be desired. And maybe it's kind of me hoping this gets moved to a main event this weekend so we're able to see that. Over-under on this one is currently set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 200. Under 2.5 plus 154. With that being said, dude, we've seen this fight before. It was an LFA for the middleweight championship in LFA, and Anthony Hernandez won the fight via decision, man. And dude, I'm just gonna put it like this: after Fluffy beat Michel Pereira, dude, I don't know if there's anyone in the division aside from like literally the top guys that's going to give him any kind of resistance, dude. He's just so fucking good. He just goes out there, you know what? I'm going to do my best Anthony Hernandez impression. Goes out there in the first round like this. Got his hands up, kind of gets whacked a few times. Sticks his tongue out with the peace sign, gets whacked a few more times, and the guy that's punching him just kind of freaks out. They overload. They start breathing hard because they're like, I'm punching this dude as hard as I can, and he's in my face, sticking his tongue out and giving me the peace sign. I don't really know what else to do, and they start to panic, and that's when Fluffy gets in, gets them on the cage, gets his hands wrapped around their waist, pulls their legs out, and the Fluffy game starts, dude. I got Fluffy to win this via decision, dude. If it was 5 rounds, it would be Fluffy 4-5 or decision because Fluffy late, we've seen it. That shit's live, dude. I like Anthony Fluffy Hernandez to win this fight. You know I'm an all-in Brendan Allen fan, but, dude, Fluffy just looked so good over his past however many fights now, dude. I can't pick against him. Let's go Fluffy. 3 or decision for me. What about you, man?
Yeah, I think this is a good fight. I think it's just in terms of the matchmaking, I'm surprised that this is not actually like headlining an Apex card. Like this is the perfect UFC Apex. I mean, if last week instead of Jared Cannonier versus Gregory Rodriguez headlining, who would have been surprised if it was Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez? Like, I don't think anybody would have been surprised at that at all. But good matchmaking here. I don't think 3 rounds are going to necessarily hurt anything. I think that actually helps kind of encapsulate the action because especially a guy like Fluffy Hernandez who does go for the finish so much and Brendan Allen as well, they know they only got the 3 rounds to do it. So I think you can see a lot of high intense action within those 3 rounds. I think we can see a lot of scrambles from the two because they both have really good wrestling. Of course, really good offensive jiu-jitsu. We haven't really seen Brendan Allen put on his back too much in the UFC, though. So I am curious to see somebody put a little bit more wrestling pressure against him. The only person who really put that pressure on Brendan Allen was Jacob Malkoon. And Jacob Malkoon took Brendan Allen to a split decision, which really surprised me.
Took him down a lot, too.
Yeah. That really surprised me, man. And I think that's something that if Jacob Malkoon is able to do that, I got to think Fluffy is going to be able to do that at a certain point in time. I don't know if he's going to be able to submit Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen is a little too tough for his own good. I'd say I'd probably go Fluffy round 3 or decision, but gun to my head as far as how the fight plays out, I think Anthony Hernandez by decision is the way to go.
Yeah, same. And I'm glad that you point out the Jacob Malkoon fight because it made me think back to, okay, Brendan Allen getting taken down by Jacob Malkoon. And even if it gets flipped, like we saw Rodolfo Vieira on Fluffy's, back for the entire first round, and he was safe. And this was a few, like this is years ago now when like Anthony Hernandez wasn't, quite as polished as he is now. And we saw how that fight turned out. So, Anthony Hernandez got solid, rear naked choke defense as well. And that's kind of Brendan Allen's go-to. So, I really don't see Brendan Allen getting a choke. Could happen, it's MMA, but me and D-Rose are both on Fluffy Hernandez via decision. Moving on, main event time, or at least for now, we got Henry Cejudo taking on Song Yadong Song, whichever one it is. I know you love to say it. We got Henry Cejudo, 16-4, Triple C is 38 years old, 5'4", and a 67.5-inch reach. While Song Yadong Song, the Kung Fu Kid, is 21-8-1, 27 years old, if you believe that's his age, 5'8" and a 67-inch reach. I know you have opinions about this fight, man. You were, ready to talk about it when you saw the odds. So I'll go ahead and I'll pass it to you, man. I think you have more opinions on this than I do, to be honest.
No, I just think that, interesting matchmaking, and I think just from the betting line alone, that is something that
which is
absolutely
sorry,
surprised me.
plus 215 Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong minus 265. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just surprised to see someone, former 2 division champ in Henry Cejudo, be such a big underdog against somebody like Song Yadong, who I am a massive fan of. I love me some Song Yadong song.
You love the dong.
Uh,
You love the dong,
yeah,
D-Rose.
yeah, I love me, especially Yadong, especially Yadong. But so I think obviously Song, good power in his hand, good boxing. He's got good offensive wrestling himself, and he's going to be bricked up. Like he's going to be looking like he's going to be pretty chiseled, man. Henry Cejudo looks like he could potentially still make 135, man, or 125 if he really dedicated himself to. But he did say that, hey, I can maybe do it, but I just don't want to cut the weight to do it. So he's walking around like a little more muscled up these days. I think the big thing here, Henry Cejudo has not looked obviously in championship form in his last couple fights. But you go to his last 2 fights that he lost. He took Aljo to a split decision in what I thought Cejudo lost the fight. But, man, there's a lot of people who made the argument that Cejudo actually won that fight against Aljo. And he had a fight against Merab Dvalishvili in his last fight to where he actually hurt Merab on the feet there at one point in time. He took Merab down at one point in time as well. Now, the big thing, obviously, Merab was able to use his full bantamweight size against Henry Cejudo to use that wrestling and really control Cejudo there. I think Song, he's got power in his hands. The biggest thing is that, man, we don't see Cejudo really hurt. Like, when is the last time? I mean, the calf kick against Demetrius Johnson and the knee to the body against Demetrius Johnson. Outside of that, when have we really ever seen Henry Cejudo hurt in a fight? I mean, I can't ever really recall it. Song Yadong's got good power, but the type of style that Henry Cejudo actually has are the types of style that Song Yadong typically struggles with. And Peter Yan was able to really use his wrestling well in his last fight against Song Yadong, which was able to really slow down Song Yadong's power and his shots as the fight went. And that was a 3-round fight. Now you're telling me Henry Cejudo has 5 rounds to be able to implement his wrestling, to really work himself into the fight, to be able to slow Song Yadong down with his power and kind of take the fight over late. I don't think Henry Cejudo is going to get the finish because I think Song Yadong's way too tough. But I could see if Song doesn't hurt Henry early, I think Henry's going to be alive in rounds 3, 4, 5, man. And I think that's where Henry Cejudo can really take over the fight. Give me Henry Cejudo in a hard-fought decision. But, man, I like where Cejudo's at as the dog here, man. Big dog for a guy that I think style-wise has traditionally given Song Yadong trouble.
You kind of maybe convinced me a little bit, but I didn't have an opinion on this fight really to begin with, just because Henry Cejudo's 38. It's like at 135, not the best look. If you ask me if, you have to bet something on this fight, what is it? I don't hate the fight goes to decision, minus 165. I think that's a solid play. I don't think either one of these guys, hurt. I don't think either one of these guys finished the other one. As you said, Henry don't ever really get hit at all or hurt at all. And we've seen Song Yadong, when his fights do get stopped and he loses, it's like via cut. He does have the power to knock pretty much anyone out, but he's got to get in close enough to hit Henry Cejudo. So Henry could just take him down every single round, ride it out like that. But Henry seems to be willing to do this little karate bob that he always does the whole fight, dude. And if it's just on damage the whole fight, I have to go Song Yadong to probably hit Henry 1 or 2 times hard enough to cut him open. And I think the cuts are going to maybe show more damage and we get a Song Yadong decision win. So I'm going Song Yadong for the decision win. D Rose is on Henry Cejudo. And sick. Oh, there's another one. I don't know if you heard me, D Rose. You're quiet.
Yeah, I heard the I heard the sick comment, but yeah, I was wondering if I was gonna be able to convince you with that pick there. I will say another thing for me.
Maybe
another
one
thing
or
for me
two
for Song.
cuts happen. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say for Song Yadong, the biggest thing for me is that Peter Yan is able to take him down, and that was a while ago. But Cheetah Vera was actually able to take him down as well. And Cheetah's actually not. I mean, he's a decent wrestler, right? But Cheetah is also not that great of a wrestler. Where Henry was actually able to use some of his wrestling against Marab and Aljo. So I think that's something that he can take advantage of. And I know Song practices the team alpha male. Yeah, but that's that traditionally that type of somebody who's going to last and be in there and can really give them some resistance, especially in the wrestling. That's Song's kind of kryptonite, man.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, but like I said, I think I just see
the
like
size advantage is going to be a big thing too.
Yeah, I think I see a cut or two happening that just dictates the whole fight from there. Just you get cut in the second round. If it's a close round, those next few rounds, it's hard to not look at this dude's face bleeding and be like, well, that guy lost the round because he's got more damage done to him. So if a cut happens, it can change the whole fight. And that's what I think happens. Give me Song Yadong via decision. D Rose on Cejudo via decision. So our 4 different picks this weekend are Nikolai Veretinikov versus Austin Vanderford, Melky Coffee Costa versus Andre Touchy-Feely, Rob Font versus Gene Matsumoto, and Song Yadong versus Henry Cejudo. If you want to toss one of those out, D-Rose, which one would it be?
Let's toss out the Gene Matsumoto and Rob Font. Cause I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel great about that one.
Oh, okay. All right. You're gonna keep Austin Vanderford. Yeah, I think if I was to toss out one, I would probably tossed out Andre Feely versus Melky Coffee just because I'm like, man, I don't care. I don't care. Or
I mean, I don't really care about that fight
either.
either, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm telling you, I do not feel great about Gene Matsumoto at all. I mean, I picked him, but as you said, we've seen Rob Font turn back contenders and taking it on short notice. It's a little sketchy.
Yeah. All right, D Rose. Do you want to do a little podcast parlay of the week? What's your favorite play this week? What do you think happens for sure? Like and I know there's no such things as a lock in this game, but if there was a closest thing to a lock this weekend, what would it be from your side?
Man, that's there's tough calls for me. I mean, if there was one that I felt really good about, I mean, probably. I don't want to take your thunder. I know you just said it, so I'm not going to say for the main event to go to decision.
No, go ahead. That ain't mine.
Man, that's probably going to be it. Yeah, for the main event to go to decision, I like that. I think that's a lock. I'd put at least to start round 5, like in a couple of parlays or so. We know that this fight game can get a little crazy, so 5th round finish, I would not be surprised. But minus 165 is, like I said, as tough as Henry is, and as you said, unless it's a big cut for Song Yadong, it's going to be hard to stop him. I like for the fight to go to decision.
All right, so D Rose's minus 165 fight to go decision main event. Mine will be I know D Rose is going to love this one. The under 1.5 in the Ibo Aslan versus Iwan Kutalaba fight. One of these two dudes is going out in the first round. I don't know which one it is, but one of them is getting knocked out. I think you can agree with me, right, D Rose? You might not feel comfortable betting it, but if we put both those together, it's plus 200. Not the worst odds in the world. The Ibo Aslan, Iwan Kutalaba under 1.5, and then the main going to decision.
Yeah, Yeah, it's not bad, and that's something that I feel I'd feel really good about.
Yeah,
Or worse, I'd say for round 3 not to start too. Like I said,
yeah.
for round 5 to start for Henry Cejudo, and maybe round
Yeah.
3 not to start. Because, hey, as you said, Iman Kutalaba, he's known to mess up some bullshit every now and then. So
Yeah, I mean, no,
maybe
he
it's a little bit.
always messes up. He always messes up. That's why I just did under 1.5. Like something's gonna happen. That fight ain't going in the second round. Yeah, so that's the podcast parlay podcast play this week. Ewan versus Ebo under 1.5 and fight to go decision in the main event right now plus 200 on DK. But with that being said, that's going to be pretty much all from us here today. We appreciate you guys stopping by, hanging out with us, chatting with us in the comments. You know, just spending your time just listening to us to just chat about the fights and all that. We truly appreciate you guys for stopping by here. With that being said, anything before we get out here, D-Rose?
No, man. I think been a good pod this week. Unfortunately, lost a lot of good fights this weekend, man. But hopefully we can bang the books out this week. And I am so pumped up for that pay-per-view coming up. Alex versus Ankalaev and Dan Hooker versus Gaethje. I'm so pumped up for that card right now, man. And I know we're going to have the week off in between, so that's going to really kind of feel us there going into that.
I don't think
or
so.
Is there a? I don't know why I thought there wasn't a fight card this week or next week.
Nope. Manel Cop. All right. So this weekend is the Seattle card. Next weekend, March 1st, is Cop versus Amabayev, and then 3/13 is the 8th.
Right.
Because there's only 28 days.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know.
28 days, so you probably got confused.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I don't know how I ended up getting that mixed up, but yeah. Either way, I'm so pumped up, looking forward to that pay per view, man. I'm going to be psyched for it, but yeah, man, the slow count until then. But yeah, hopefully people hit some good bets this weekend and let's make some money.
Yeah. Do you think Ebo has a lot of potential? No, I do not.
No, I don't.
Also,
a fun fighter, but
yeah, I personally didn't like it this year. I just like when they just do the all-star game. Like, I didn't like the whole shit. I know, Mac McClung. I don't know if you saw it in the beginning. Antoine D Rose said that Mac McClung boosted his Kia K5 sales in the area,
and they won the matte color one as well. So that's what makes it even better.
Hell yeah. Who are you guys picking? Royval versus Cop. I don't think that's happening anymore, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's on
I thought it was.
I just looked at it. Asu Amabayev and Manel Cop.
Oh yeah, and then it's Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg in Mexico, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, originally. Originally I would have probably went Manel Cop just because I think Royval can be a little fragile from time to time, and Cop throws heat.
I probably would have went Royval, honestly, just because I'm not the biggest Manel Cop fan. I just can't make myself.
Dude, you love him.
Yeah. I cannot make myself pick him. But yeah, it would have been a damn good fight though. And Manel Cop's a great athlete, great fighter, just annoying personality.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, that's going to be all from us here today. My name is Matt D Rose on that side of your screen. I'll be here for Change the Cheddar on Friday. Give you my last minute picks, things like that. So close to hitting an absolute heater this past weekend, D Rose. But Vince Morales, Rodolfo Vieira, just shit on us, dude. But with that being said, we'll keep on rolling this week. We're going to have another Change the Cheddar. Hopefully have a chance to win another big ass parlay, and hopefully we can hit it this week. But with that being said, that's going to be all from us. My name is Matt D Rose on that side of the screen, and we appreciate you guys for stopping by here, hanging out with us here tonight. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys on your way out. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.